Hello, and welcome to another episode of Breadcast My Thoughts On. I've been watching a lot of videos about the rise and or fall of various YouTubers, and these people always pick ones that have gone through rises and subsequent falls all in one fell swoop. I, however, am picking one that I believe has fallen. Of course, I will talk about the beginnings of them as well. I'm going to be talking about MatPat, but more specifically, I'm going to be talking about why I personally think that both the Game Theorists channel and the Film Theorists channel have risen and then fallen. MatPat started the Game Theorists channel on August 22nd, 2009. Now, looking back as far as one can look into the videos on the channel, MatPat didn't start by uploading game theory videos on this channel upon its inception. The first 24 videos on this channel, going back 12 years, are either short clips from plays or musicals that MatPat was in, or his audition tapes to be in plays or musicals. But on April 14th, 2011, the promotional video for what would become known as Game Theory was uploaded.
Do you love playing video games? Are you tired of walking away from 12-hour gaming sessions feeling entertained, yet unfulfilled? Do you want to know more about the games you love without having to put in any work of your own? Well, now you can play and learn. That's right, Weboverse. Inspired by fellow gaming series Extra Credit.
Obviously, if you look at this 2-minute video with the lenses from somebody from 2021, yeah, the video sucks. I mean, it's basically a slideshow, and it looks like it was made in Windows Movie Maker. Plus, the audio is super quiet, and yeah, it really does suck. But for 2011, it'll do just fine. Anyways, 4 days later, on April 18th, 2011, the first episode of Game Theory would be uploaded.
Strap into your DeLorean and accelerate to 88 miles per hour, because we're talking about time travel. Hello, Internet, and welcome to Game Theory, gaming's tangential learning experience. Through these videos, we hope you'll find more reasons to appreciate some of your favorite games, while sparking some interest in new real-world topics. On this, our inaugural episode, we'll be looking at one of my all-time favorite RPGs, Chrono Trigger, and analyzing what, if anything, the game can teach us about its core gameplay mechanic, time travel. We'll start off by looking at the first method of time travel used in the game. The adventure kicks off with a science experiment gone wrong. Take one teleportation pod, throw in a magical pendant, and bada bing bada boom, you've accidentally torn the time-space continuum. The characters eventually refer to these fourth dimension portals as time gates, but is it fact or fiction?
The title for this first episode is Game Theory. Is Chrono Trigger's time travel accurate? It has the same kind of slideshow nature to it when not using gameplay footage, and the audio is still really quiet. Also, that old intro is really short, but I kinda like it, even with how simple it is. Anyway, 2012 is around the time when Ronnie Edwards would make their debut on the Game Theorists channel with a sort of sub-series called Digressing and Side Questing.
Hey, I'm Ronnie Edwards, and this is Digressing and Side Questing. Today we're going to talk about how some health bars and hit points can do more than just measure health and chill out at one spot on the screen. Let's start with the plumber that helped pull us out of the oversaturated sewers of the video game crash all those years ago, Mario. I'm sure if you're watching this, you've played Super Mario Bros. On the NES, and if you haven't, then, well, what the fuck? As a refresher, in Mario you collect coins, mushrooms, flowers, stars, and axes. Green mushrooms give you extra lives, red mushrooms give you an extra hit.
The point of this sub-series is to explore various mechanics and design aspects within video games. I particularly like the early days of game theory videos. This is because I feel MatPat would cover a wide range of video games, including ones that I have never heard of, as well as talking about video games that most people have never heard of. Hell, that's why Ronnie Edwards himself joined the Game Theorists, because MatPat did a video on some obscure NES game. There were some odd ones that did not make a ton of sense video-wise to be on this channel, like a video on how PewDiePie conquered YouTube. Not really sure what that has to do with game theory, other than because PewDiePie streams video games. There is, however, one video that would launch the Game Theorists into the mainstream. On October 23rd, 2014, the video Five Nights at Freddy's Scariest Monster Is You would be uploaded.
Hello once again, theorists. Welcome to MatPat Plays. Today we are playing the scariest game of all creation. Probably never heard of it. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's. Here we go. What's this? It's a camera. The camera came up. Oh, was that a bunny? Was that a bunny? I think it was a bunny. Oh my gosh. I am so scared right now. Oh god! Huh. It was only the fan. It's only the fan. Only a fan. I have never played a game this intense. Oh god! Shut the doors, shut the doors, shut the doors! Oh, please don't see me, please don't see me, please don't see me, please don't see me, please don't see me. Please don't see me. I'm so scared right now. I'm so scared. Can you tell how scared I am right now?
This video is the one that put the Game Theorists into the light, as I already said. Even looking at this one video in particular, it has a whopping 27 million views, whereas other videos will get anywhere from 2 million to 7 million views thereabout. What do you do when a video goes viral? Well, you do it again, and that's what MatPat did. On December 9th, 2014, we got FNAF 2, Gaming's Scariest Story Solved.
Hello? Oh, hello, and welcome to the new and improved Five Nights at Freddy's 2 video. I'm here to answer any questions the game may have left unanswered. The game's developer, he's a pretty tricky guy. Don't worry, though, we'll get everything cleared up. Oh, and watch out for the puppet.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that promises not to include any more gratuitous jump scares, unless that's just what I want you to think, so I can lull you into a false sense of security and scare you again. But I wouldn't do that. I'll just let the uncertainty of whether a jump scare is going to happen or not drive you insane for the rest of this episode. Man, I love reverse psychology. You know what else I love? These games! Not because I'm freaked out by the rosy-cheeked, tingle-looking, emotionally dead animatronics. Okay, well, Balloon Kid is pretty messed up, but whatever. No, what I appreciate about these games is the level of thought that—
And here in 2021, this video has gotten 22 million views. It was not until after Why FNAF Will Never End when the views on Game Theory's videos on Five Nights at Freddy's would drop in views by a lot.
looks to be everything you'd want in a sequel. More cameras, more danger, and more fan. Oh, the fan. But that also comes with more questions. Questions about the game's lore. And while others will provide you with the jump scares, I provide you with what everyone really wants, answers. Well, maybe not everyone.
Only a few other videos on this channel would reach that view count that those first 4 or 5 videos on Five Nights at Freddy's would get. So, now that the Game Theorists is in the popular side of YouTube and going really smooth, what do you think MatPat would do? If you said create a YouTube Red original show, then you would be correct. On June 8th, we would get the first episode of the YouTube Red original show called MatPat's Game Lab.
I'm MatPat! And this is Game Lab.
We're here at the Tempest Freerunning Academy in Chatsworth, California, to learn a little bit more about parkour so we can explore the world of Mirror's Edge. See that guy behind me? Yeah, that's not gonna be me by the end of the day. Spoiler alert, I know that's what you were expecting, but I make YouTube videos for a living, so what do you expect?
Mirror's Edge was a breath of fresh air for the gaming industry when it was first released by EA in 2008. At that time, the gaming scene was dominated by gritty war games that put you in the perspective of super soldiers gunning down the enemy. But Mirror's Edge was different, bright and colorful, and with an emphasis not on shooting the enemy, but avoiding them by running, or more specifically, free running. In the game, you play as Faith Connors, a parkour expert working against an oppressive government, leaping from rooftop to rooftop, delivering information to the resistance like the most intense UPS carrier ever. And with a sequel just released, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, I figured now was the perfect time for us
The first episode of Game Lab focused on doing parkour because the game Mirror's Edge Catalyst had been released around this time. And so in this video, they do a bunch of parkour challenges. This is basically how Game Lab works. They pick an aspect from a game and try to do something in real life with it, often just trying to recreate aspects of the game. Game Lab lasted for 9 episodes, with the final episode being a behind the scenes of the previous 8 episodes, which kinda is stupid. The other 8 episodes were all around 20 minutes long, but the final episode was only around 7 minutes. Remember, YouTube Red was a service that one was paying for with money, and I really think that it's kind of shitty for MatPat to not make a full 20-minute episode for the last episode of Game Lab. That was it for Game Lab though. No season 2 ever happened, and YouTube Red went in the trash anyways for YouTube. MatPat also still has episodes of Game Theory that just do not make sense to be episodes of Game Theory. Aside from the video that I already mentioned, MatPat would upload 2 more videos about PewDiePie to Game Theory. He also did a video about Jake Paul and Logan Paul and the Vine invasion, as well as 2 additional videos on the Paul brother. There's the video about YouTube Rewind and a $1 million challenge video, and I remember seeing a video on there about Ninja. All of these uploaded as Game Theory videos, and none of them having to do with video games at all. In fact, most of them are just about YouTube drama. It's just about YouTubers that tend to play or stream video games. But again, I don't get how that has anything to do with Game Theory. Another thing that I noticed as I'm scrolling is that MatPat is doing less and less FNAF videos. Probably because the popularity of FNAF is getting to be less and less. He is making more videos about Pokemon and Minecraft because, you know, those are 2 immensely popular video games and video game franchises. The problem is that a lot of Game Theory videos now involve MatPat just sitting on a couch in front of the camera and talking about real life stuff, as MatPat puts it. Now, you may think that MatPat is all fine with Game Theory and nothing has ever gone wrong. Well, that is where you would be wrong. The game theorists have their issues, and I'm going to talk about as many of them as I can find. Let's start small with the video addressing Game Theory's biggest problem. This is one of those sit down and talk videos.
Very rarely am I afraid to hit publish on a video. Sure, there are theories that I know are going to end up being controversial, but at the end of the day, they're all just meant for fun. There are a few out there that are about actual real topics that matter. The stuff about how loot boxes and mobile games hijack your brain, but overall, 95% of the time, my theories are never meant to be taken seriously. Just to get you to think about your favorite games and movies critically, or through some different perspective. At the end of the day, does it really matter if Mario's a sociopath? Or if Link is dead? Or that I nail who Purple Guy's true identity is finally after like 15 attempts? My philosophy has always been that it doesn't. That it's more about listening to the evidence and hearing a good story. Enabling you to play the original Super Mario Bros. With the knowledge that, canonically speaking, all those blocks that you're rewarded for hitting were indeed members of the Mushroom Kingdom. And maybe you shouldn't go around breaking them all willy-nilly if you truly are the hero of the game. I know
in which MatPat talks about how people were calling out game theory for using fan art in their videos and not crediting the artists that made them. There's not much else aside from that. He just talks about how these kinds of errors have shown up in his videos and how fan artists can protect their work. But the biggest thing comes from something that I remember that when I found this out, I knew I made the right decision to stop watching the Game Theorists. There was a video that talks about why the person who created the video, the person that uploaded it and everything, now hates game theory. One of the points that I like is that they outline how MatPat basically cannot take criticism. That any time someone tries to criticize MatPat will just look at them and label them as a hater, and that they're giving hate towards him. That same creator has a video where he also points out how MatPat ignores several of the theories in his videos have either been disproven or proven to be vastly under-researched. There's another video that talks about the whole Heartbound situation.
The first of these was over a live stream where MatPat gave positive coverage to an indie game titled Heartbound. The creator of the game wasn't too pleased with this stream, calling it out for a clickbait title that compared his game to Undertale, getting a name wrong, not giving what he felt was sufficient promotion, and a supposed misleading video tag. Needless to say, this criticism took off. So was this reaction justified? Well, in short, no. I mean, they did get the name of the game studio wrong, which could have used a correction, but many of the other points against the stream kinda just come off as, well, really petty. The one thing people were complaining about was how the tags of the video mention Undertale, which I guess they're claiming would confuse people into thinking Heartbound was related to that franchise. But that makes no sense. Tags have been hidden from general public view for years now, so the idea that this metadata confused people is absolute grade A nonsense. The more valid point that may have actually led to confusion was a thumbnail and title that could have led people into believing this game was related to Undertale. The thing is though, if you watch the stream, they make it very clear that this is not an actual game in the Undertale series, but rather a game that is in a similar genre and may be the next big indie hit. It was clearly clickbait, no doubt, but I have trouble believing people that watched the stream actually thought that this was a sequel. But if they only read the original title, I can see where they're coming from on this point. The weirdest point against the stream, I think, is that people were mad that there wasn't a link to purchase the game in the description. I've been on YouTube for a decade now and can verify that this has never been a standard practice, so going after only game theory for it is dumb. If you're outraged at MatPat for not putting a link in the description to Heartbound, do you also get mad when Call of Duty channels don't link to Activision.com? This part just seems hypocritical. In summary, the only piece of this outrage I'm at all sympathetic to is that the clickbait in the title and thumbnail may have gone too far, and that they needed to correct the studio's name. But does that really justify 100,000 people going after Matt? At the end of the day, the creators of Heartbound should come away from this controversy in a good mood. This all gave them a ton of free publicity for their game.
Another small one is that I know that MatPat put out some videos relating to video game characters and gender, in which he had basically been called out for being transphobic, and that was a whole mess, and yeah. But to me, the biggest kind of screw up, and the one that makes me the most upset, is this. Now, it also makes me more upset that I can no longer find the video that presented this information anymore, but I'll do my best to tell you. Basically, it was a video about how MatPat had hired someone to write for Game Theory. This person wrote several episodes of the show. However, issues came up and miscommunication between MatPat and the person happened, which led to the person deciding to leave Game Theory. They also They also had, I think, 1 or 2 episodes written when this person left, but they never turned them into MatPat. Pretty much what happened is that the person saw a game theory video on a topic that they were writing for a script before they ended their work time with the Game Theorist channel, which essentially led to MatPat's just stealing the script idea and going ahead with making the video, even though he basically stole the work that this person had done. So going back to the one video about why the one person left the Game Theorists, it outlines some things that attributes to what I think is the fall of the Game Theorists. When Game Theory started, the videos were around 5 to 9 minutes, maybe 15 at the max. But now, a Game Theory video is at the very least 15 minutes, sometimes can reach 20 minutes or more. And they make a point that, it's not because they're going really deep into the theories, but, and I agree with this, it's that MatPat will put in skits, merch plugs, other channel plugs, or just, jokes and not important information to the theory or the video as a whole. To prove this as a part of this video, I'm gonna watch the newest and latest game theory video and point this out. Okay, so here we are, guys. I am going to be watching the, as of now, most recent episode of Game Theory, and I'm going to point out all of the parts that I believe can be cut. And yeah, let's get into this. So this is Humans Are Obsolete, Warframe. And as you can already see by my video being paused, this video is sponsored by Warframe. So point number 1, and get ready for point number 2 right off the bat.
Who wins in a fight, humans or robots? I mean, robots are a force to be reckoned with. They're practically indestructible, super strong, and can calculate anything in a matter of microseconds, which, gotta admit, puts our puny human abilities on the ropes. But we humans have advantages too. We're far more flexible, we can adapt to our surroundings, and our bodies naturally heal themselves over time. When you think about it, we're pretty darn impressive too. So can you imagine what would happen if you combine the strength of human and machine? Oh yeah, the future can't come soon enough.
And yeah, point number 2, starting the video with basically a little skit that doesn't really have anything to do with the theory. And that took a whole, 40 seconds of the video.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that's the ultimate hybrid of interesting video game knowledge and cringy dad jokes. Today's episode is sponsored by Warframe, a free-to-play third-person action game set in the Origin system, a solar system that's been torn apart by war, where factions fight for resources and dominance over what remains of society. There's drama, there's betrayal, and with the latest story-driven update, The New War, the stakes have never been higher as we fight against the synthetic AI faction, the galaxy's biggest and oldest threat, the Sentients. Now, in the game, we control the titular Warframes, beings that were created to fight off these invaders centuries prior.
And point number 3, as after wasting 40 seconds with a skit that has nothing to do with the theory, we haven't even gotten to the theory yet. We are now a minute and 14-ish in, and we're doing a fucking ad read for Warframe, which, you're out there probably saying, well, I mean, it is sponsored. Okay, who gives a fuck? Save your ad read for the end. This is one of the things that infuriates me about YouTubers. I don't mind if you're sponsored. Okay, I would love to be sponsored. But what you don't put your ad reads at the beginning or the middle of the video. Do the video, do the ad read at the end. That way, for those of us who don't give 2 fucks about your ad read, we can click off.
prior. At first glance, these things appear to be armored robot space ninjas, which gotta admit, pretty cool potluck of adjectives. But in reality, these things are even better because they're not just machines, they're actually a fusion of man and machine. They're humans that have been mutated by a weaponized parasite known as the infestation, giving them steel-like armored skin, hardened organs, and the ability to perform incredible feats like super fast running, massive jumps, and shooting lightning out of your hands. I mean, who wouldn't want abilities like that? And then you can make it all even better as you upgrade RPG style throughout the game. You can even create companion pets to assist you in battle, which are also modifiable. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, my little killer alien missile launching doggo. But perhaps the coolest thing.
And as you can see, this is, again, still not into the theory, full of stupid jokes. MatPat, you're not funny. You're not. I would rather go to any other YouTube channel for humor if I wanted it. You are not funny.
Thing of all is that all of this sci-fi world building isn't just some far-off fantasy. The fusion of organic and inorganic material is a relatively new realm of science in real life, but despite it still being in its early days, it's already yielding some mind-blowing results. Results that look a heck of a lot like the capabilities of Warframes. Seriously, it's like scientists saw games like this and said, hey, can we get a grant to make this real? And the donors were like, please take all of my money. And now here we are at the beginning of an era of biomachinery. So when can you expect your own metallic super skin empowering you to take down a race of invading synthetic aliens? That, my friends, is the question we're answering today. First off, what do I mean by biomechanical hybrids? Well,
So here we are. Now we're getting into the theory at the 2 minute and 35 seconds in-ish to the video. So you have to sit through a 40-second intro that has nothing to do with the theory, and then I don't know the exact time, a big old ad read for Warframe before finally getting into the actual theory.
as the name suggests, it's a hybrid of biological matter and mechanical parts. Now, that might make you immediately think of something like a cyborg, and you're not too far off with that. Cyborgs, by definition, are cybernetic organisms with both mechanical and organic body parts, but they aren't quite the same as biomechanical hybrids. Where a cyborg may have a robot arm that is itself completely mechanical, a biomechanical hybrid is built using organic material within the mechanical element. Think about it this way, robotics and biology share a lot of things in common. For instance, when you want to get up from the couch and grab yourself your 6th Diet Coke of the afternoon, your brain sends information using electrical signals through nerves in your spine, which stimulates motor neurons in the muscles, causing them to move. Similarly, a robot trying to move will have a main processing chip send electrical data signals through wires to have an action be taken, like getting up and getting me another Diet Coke. Come on, TheoryBot, hurry up! By combining these ideas, you end up with
And there's another stupid joke for us.
biohybrid actuators, and there are a few examples of it working in real life. The first is from back in 2012. A team from Harvard University and Caltech created a silicone jellyfish that was coated in the heart muscle cells from rats. By using electrodes, they were able to stimulate the heart muscles, which caused them to pulse and propel the jellyfish forward. More recently, Harvard created a swimming robot that looks a lot like a rayfish. It has a golden skeleton and a rubber body, but it's once again filled with those rat heart muscle cells. 200,000 of them. Who says machines are heartless? Quite the contrary, they have thousands. They even genetically engineered the muscles to react to light rather than electrodes, and so the robotic rayfish can now swim using the power of organic cells. All of it is a fusion of organic cells with the wires and motors of robots. Now look at our Warframes in the game. We know that they're mutated humans with 3 additional parts: the neuroptics, the chassis, and the system. A closer inspection of the system makes it look like some kind of mechanical structure within the body, a metallic skeleton of sorts. Something that feels oddly similar to the golden skeleton from that rayfish robot. Why the need for an organic component? Well, strong and flexible muscles are vital for the Warframe's battle capabilities. Organic muscles allow for much greater flexibility when you're running about a battlefield, dodging enemy fire, or trying to stealthily infiltrate your enemy's base. All of those things require flexibility and finesse, something that is very difficult for robots to do without those organic muscles. Don't believe me? Well, here's a clip from Boston Dynamics. It's definitely cool. Robots doing parkour, who would have thought? But did you notice the key detail? They're slow and, in all honesty, a bit stiff. It's an amazing feat of engineering, don't get me wrong, but if you tried to put the Atlas in a fight, it's not going to be able to dodge or sneak anywhere, let alone doing so in a timely fashion. Muscles offer that physical flexibility that pure machines just don't have. Take a look at this biohybrid finger that was made by researchers at the University of Tokyo Institute of Industrial Science. Sure, it's a bit rudimentary, but it represents the principle of fine motor skills that muscles can offer to machine elements, something that pure robotics still struggle to master. The Warframe in the game then represents the future of this sort of balance. As you'd expect, completing missions in the game levels up your Warframe, making it stronger and faster. Wouldn't really be too much of a game without a feature like that. But what would seem like just a gameplay mechanic actually makes real-world sense in the context of biohybrids. Organic muscle can grow. When you go to the gym to get them sick gains, you are building muscle. This is a process known as muscle hypertrophy, which is essentially the fusing of damaged muscle fibers. When you work out, you're actually damaging the muscles, but your body repairs the damage and in turn creates larger, stronger muscle. This is great for the field of biohybrid robots because it means that your machines can literally get stronger over time. Speaking of repairs, mechanical engineer Ritu Raman gave an interview with Science Focus about her work with biohybrid robots. And in it, she explains that the benefit of using organic muscle is its healing properties. Our bodies are constantly repairing damage. A damaged cell will multiply in order to replace itself. If you break a bone, your body will immediately produce new cells that heal that damage. And while Raman's work is, for the most part, theoretical, my favorite type of work, we have started to see this with fairly recent biohybrid experiments. Ladies and gentlemen, meet the Xenobots. They are bizarre. You see, the Xenobots are basically computer-designed clusters of biological tissue that are all mixed together, mostly cells that have been scraped off of frog embryos. But what's crazy about these newly formed cell clusters is that they're able to move towards a target, pick things up, and most importantly, heal themselves when they're cut or damaged. They are technically robots. They have been designed by AI to perform a purpose, but they have been built purely from organic material. It's just mind-bendy. As you can probably imagine, it's still very early technology and isn't fully programmable yet, but in theory, it is a first step towards these biohybrid soldiers. We know from the game that the Warframe's organs are, quote, interlinked with untold resilience, implying that they all function together as a solid unit. The exact coordination we see coming out of these Xenobots. And the healing ability of the Xenobots could be a first step towards developing some sort of rejuvenation aura that, again, we're seeing present with the Warframes in the game. And what about sight? Feels obvious for us as humans, but if you take a look at these Warframes, do you see any eye holes or visors? No, you do not. So how on earth do you kick alien butt when you're running around the battlefield completely blind? That's where the neuroptics come in. Neurons and optics. It's the way that the Warframe sees the world around it. To solve for this in real life, we turn to a different part of biohybrid research, this time in the field of cyborg botany. That's right, plant robots. Everyone thinks about cyborgs as being humanoid or animal things, but plant cyborgs are a real thing that are being worked on right now. These guys were created at MIT and use a water-soluble polymer to essentially create an electrically conductive channel inside of the plant's body, allowing them to connect wires to it and receive electrical signals. What does any of this have to do with sight? Well, by doing this, they've managed to turn the plant into an antenna. Plants have the ability to sense electromagnetic waves, so by creating an organic wire inside of the plant, they can now measure those changes and allow it to affect other processes, like, say, creating a natural motion sensor. This also proves that the Warframes wouldn't necessarily need eyes to see. This type of biohybrid tech could allow Warframes to sense motion through differences in EM waves around them, similar to how sonar works. Finally, let's tackle one of the toughest things to explain with science, the Warframe's shield abilities. And no, I'm not just talking about their armor. Warframes have a built-in shield ability, an invisible barrier that lessens the damage that they take from enemies. Typically, this means bullets, but their shields also allow them to lessen the elemental or type damage done by certain weapons. Surely this sort of thing can't be explained using biohybrid robots, right? No, it can't. They've only just managed to make a finger move with muscle. You think they're really developing invisible shield technology for them too? But where the jellyfish used rat muscles to operate, scientists are using other types of animal parts to improve these biohybrid robots. For example, there's a robot at Tel Aviv University that has an ear of a locust attached to it in order to help it respond to noises. So although it hasn't been done yet, is there something from the biological world that could potentially give our Warframes a natural shielding ability? The answer to that, my friends, is a resounding yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the water bear. Officially, its name is tardigrade, but come on, who ain't calling this thing the water bear? Now, these creatures are small, less than 1 millimeter in length, but they
Again, another cringy joke, albeit a short one.
are amazing. They can survive in extreme temperatures, extreme pressures, even in the vacuum of space. These things are nature's greatest survivors, but despite their huge resume of abilities, there's one that I want to call out for our purposes today, and that's how they protect themselves from UV light. It's been documented that the water bear can absorb what should otherwise be a lethal dose of UV light, and just roll with that. Sounds pretty nice to me. I end up going through one bottle of sunscreen when I go outside to pick up the mail. But how it
And another cringy joke there.
copes with this UV light is especially interesting. Its cells have evolved in such a way that it means that they produce a protein that absorbs UV radiation and then releases it from the body, which causes the water bear to glow blue. And what color do our Warframes glow when they're using their shields? Well, sometimes green and sometimes gold, but there are definitely blue ones. But the principle still stands.
Okay, I'm sorry. Matt Pat, I'm gonna call that a thin. I know everybody out there's like, it's a theory, but like, I certainly feel like that was a thinly veiled example there, because I've never played Warframe, okay, but I've played enough Halo. And yeah, I don't think that the shield mechanic can be explained by the way that a water bear shields itself from UV light. Like, I really, really think you're reaching there, and I don't think you really did enough research there, Matt Pat.
There is a biological way to create a natural shield from things like radiation, which is also one of the type modifications that weapons in Warframe can have. So given enough time and scientific advancement, it could be plausible to modify these cells to form glowing blue shields against all sorts of elemental damage and apply that biological matter into the designs of biohybrid robots. So things are looking good, right? Development of biohybrid robots only really began in the early 2000s, less than 20 years ago, and already we're making huge strides in learning how to fuse the organic with the inorganic. We'll be running around with sword steel skin in no time, right? Yeah, there's still one problem with all this. For as cool as Warframes are, there's one tiny little issue with them. That parasite that's used to convert humans, the infestation, yeah, it kind of drives you insane. You see, in the lore of the game, it wasn't possible to test the long-term effects that Warframe conversion would have on humans. They were in the middle of a war, after all, and kinda desperate. At first, everything went off without a hitch. Just convert the bodies and minds of your best soldiers into Warframes and you have yourself a super strong tactical killing machine. But then stuff started to go wrong. The soldiers began to lose their sanity, and that's one side effect that's gonna raise a few red flags. Except that's not where the story ends. There's a big twist in Warframe's story that explains how we, the player, are able to control these insane Warframes. And the answer is children, human children. In-game, they're called the Tenno. Special kids that got exposed to something called the Void, which gave them space powers, allowing them to control the Warframes remotely using a technique called transference. But that's not what's important here. The important fact is that they're children, which scientifically explains how they can become amazing operators for these machines. You see, a child's brain isn't fully developed yet. No offense to any children watching, it's just science, and it's actually a great thing. This quote-unquote underdeveloped brain is actually the key to a lot of their success. It is like a child's superpower. By the age of 2 or 3, a child's brain will go through a period called exuberant synaptogenesis. In this period, they'll have twice as many synaptic connections between neurons in the brain than an adult. This is why kids are able to pick up new languages so easily. There are multiple neural pathways, so their brain isn't locked into a particular speaking pattern or dialect or way of thinking yet. However, as we get older, our brains begin to prune back the number of neural pathways, only keeping the ones that we use regularly. Gotta admit, at this point, I've only really got neural pathways for connecting FNAF lore. This was tested by the University of California, where 106 children between the ages of 4 and 5 were put up against 170 college students, given a gadget that they've never seen.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, Matt Pat. What the fuck is this? Why do you have angry child making a fist looking at us? This is stupid.
Before and then tasked with figuring it out. The machine was actually based off of basic cause and effect. The device had them place clay shapes in boxes in a particular order to make the box light up and play sounds. You might have an idea of what happened here. The 4 and 5-year-olds crushed the college students. They were faster at learning this new piece of technology. Warframes are complex weapons. They're strong, durable, flexible, and most importantly, new to the human experience. As such, the people who are going to be best at learning how to use them and integrating them into their organic lives lives are children with their flexible, neuronally rich brains. Not only that, but you also need a brain with lightning-fast reflexes to make the most of the Warframe's agility. And again, children are great for it. A study of 3,305 people between the ages of 16 and 44 showed that after the age of 24, the brain's response time begins to decline at a slow but steady rate. This has also been corroborated by Dr. Todd Sontag, a doctor who specializes in esports injuries. When talking about esports players, quote, their eye-hand coordination starts to deteriorate by the time that they're 25 years old. The 18-year-olds have already been playing for 10 years and they're quicker than the older players. It's hard to continue to compete past their mid-20s. This is why the average retirement age for esports players is 25. They just can't keep up with the reaction times of the younger people, whose minds can still learn new things much quicker and react much faster than the older human counterparts. So there you have it, friends. Not only are Warframes totally plausible from a scientific standpoint, but their strategy of using children was also totally on the money. Though I'd be lying if I didn't say I was slightly sad about all this. By the time science has developed these biohybrids to the point of human-sized killing machines, I'm gonna be past my peak reflexes. Heck, I'm already in my 30s and I'm already past them, so boy do I feel it right now. I can barely keep up with my toddler running loose around the house, but it's fine. Grandpa Pat will just be sitting over here on the porch watching the next generation of bio.
And as you can see, we are at the 14.5-minute mark. The theory is over, but we still have to go to 16 minutes here.
Hybrid robots destroying everything from a distance. Just make sure you stay off my lawn. But hey, just gotta say thank
And of course had to end with another cringy joke.
you one final time to today's sponsor, Warframe. This game has been around for a while, so I kind of felt like I'd missed the boat on joining the fun, but thanks to the years of updates and expansions, there's actually no better time to join. The new War update that I briefly mentioned today just launched with a massive new quest that'll provide hours of action, and the thing we hear
And again, our ending on having to plug his sponsor again, because apparently he didn't do that enough in the first part of the video. And that's why I'm going to stop this right here. And yeah, as you could see from the points that I have picked out, that if we cut anything that I had already, like the major parts that I had said, like basically most of the beginning, most of the end here, you could probably get this video down to like 10 minutes, maybe a little less than that. And so yes, that's why MatPat is artificially inflating his videos with as much as he can nowadays. And this person also went as far as to themselves watch several episodes of Game Theory and cut things down to a reasonable length, and this is why, his videos are just unnecessarily becoming longer. Something that others point out as to the fall of Game Theory is when they started pumping out videos on Five Nights at Freddy's. As much as I don't give a shit about Five Nights at Freddy's, I still don't agree with that point, because it's MatPat getting in on a trend. And that's something that literally every popular YouTube gaming channel does. Why do you think people play Minecraft? Because it's popular. I mean, yes, they do it because they like it too, but it doesn't help the fact that it's popular. Same with Fortnite and anything else. I also can't ignore the fact that the Game Theory channel has been dragged through some shit too. They were one of 50 creators that got screwed over by Defy Media.
Us 50 had $1.7 million stolen from us. $1.7 million stolen from 50 people. Today I'm telling the story of Defy Media.
They had the tough situation in which their main editor, Ronnie, committed suicide, and then that same day, MatPat's wife gave birth.
And that's why it shatters my heart to tell you that on July 4th, Ronnie was found dead, a victim of suicide.
I still believe that the game theorists have fallen far from what they once were. However, we're not done yet. The Film Theorists was created on May 12th, 2014. First video on this channel was uploaded on June 2nd, 2015, and was the trailer. Welcome to the Film Theorists.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theorists! Do you love overanalyzing movies and TV? Well, then you've come to the right place. If decoding Game of Thrones lore, dissecting the physics of Dragon Ball's Kamehameha wave, or figuring out how to win the Hunger Games using game theory sounds appealing to you, then you, my friend, are a theorist, and should consider joining the community of loyal theorists already 4.5 million strong from our other channel, the Game Theorists, by simply clicking that subscribe button. Have you ever wondered whether Harry Potter is actually the hero of his own series? Or whether Doctor Who could be a real person? If so, check out some of the videos below and see what you think. And get excited, because we have Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney all lined up in the next few weeks. I guess that sentence was a bit redundant since all of them are technically Disney anyway, but whatever, you get the point. And when you've had your fill of theorizing, hop on over to Did You Know Movies. That's right, the guys from Did You Know Gaming are here to bring you all the incredible facts and little-known behind-the-scenes moments from all your favorite big screen hits. So now we're teaming up to make this the most awesome edutainment film channel ever. Which brings us to our last show, Frame by Frame, all about the art of movie making and cinematography. It's like film school, but edgier, funnier, and a whole lot cheaper. So, good on all fronts. Honestly, I live in LA, and watching the first few episodes of this show finally enabled me to stop getting weird looks from all my production friends, because I now know what a jib shot is. God, some production people can be so pretentious. So that's it. Check out all the great stuff we have below, and if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe. It's free, and it's your ticket to stay up to date with all the newest film theorist content. Seriously, free. It's a lot better than those 3D movies. $18 to watch Hot Tub Time Machine? Are you kidding me? You know what? It's not just cheaper, it's a whole lot more entertaining too. Oh, shots fired, Hot Tub Time Machine 2. Booyah! Subscribe!
Unfortunately, the Film Theorist has not been around as long as the Game Theorists, and therefore has not gone through as many controversies or changes in format. All of the game theory videos are basically the same as a current game theory video. Some of them are under-researched, some of them have been disproven, they're longer than they need to be, and this I can attribute this to a video that I myself did out of film theory video about Transformers. The videos are longer than they need to be, as I said. They have merch plugs, channel plugs, and other unimportant stuff, just like the game theory videos. Something I noticed here is that there is one film theory video about PewDiePie, and it doesn't even fit here. Because again, it's YouTube drama. It's not actually about movies. I'm just starting to think that MatPat needs to start a 4th channel for just talking about YouTuber drama, because he seems to enjoy it. The other weird thing is that film theory is used to talk about more than just movies. He has episodes about TV shows and anime as well. The most popular film theory video is the video about how Anna and Elsa from Frozen are not actually sisters.
Take a break from building your snowman, because for the first time in forever, we're doing a theory on Frozen. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory. You know the Frozen lore you thought you knew? Well, prepare to let it go, because today's theory will change everything you thought you knew about the adorkable Anna and the incomparable Adele Dazeem. Now, Disney Animation has picked up a fun little habit in the last few years of dropping hidden Easter eggs throughout their movies, making it seem like some, or maybe even all of them, take place in a larger, connected universe. And with Frozen being the biggest animated moneymaker in, well, ever, they've connected Frozen with a whole bunch of other movies. There are plenty of theories floating around about The Little Mermaid and Tarzan, but the connection I'm most interested in today is between Frozen and Tangled. And before you run away thinking that you've heard this one, because of course there's stuff on the internet that connects Tangled and Frozen, hear me out, because this is a brand new finding that I think is going to change the way that you see these two movies. Yes, there are movies about long-lost magical princesses, but
with the video having 22 million views. As with game theory, MatPat tries to cash in on whatever is popular, with having a lot of videos on this channel about Marvel, DC, Disney, and Pixar movies. The worst thing I can really say about film theory is that MatPat takes on topics that I feel like he knows nothing about. This was evident when I watched that video that he made on Transformers, more specifically on Transformers Age of Extinction. And after watching it, I was able to make a full video on my own, correcting all of the mistakes that he made, putting in points he missed. And what I took away is that MatPat knows absolutely nothing about Transformers. Maybe this is biased because I know a decent amount about Transformers, but the point still stands. It still stands because MatPat likes to flex about how much research goes into any of his theory videos, and the stuff that I said in my video about his Transformers film theory video was not anything that couldn't be found with a little bit of research. This is ultimately why I stopped watching the game theorists and film theorists. It got to the point with MatPat where I found less and less passion in the subject matter and more of him doing things because it's what's popular. Like right now, on film theory, he's got a lot of Spider-Man videos because of the new Spider-Man movie. He did a few videos on Shang-Chi before that came out. Now, as I said, this isn't a bad thing though, because it's what most people on YouTube do. I mean, why do you think YouTube recently celebrated 1 trillion views of Minecraft content on the site? I am also not a fan of the way that MatPat is not able to take criticism and just labels everyone who criticizes him as a hater, and nor am I going to support someone who steals video scripts and video ideas from other people. I also can't support someone who puts too much fluff in their videos the way that MatPat does. The one thing I can say is that the game theorists and the film theorist channels, they're not as bad. They're not that bad. They're not as bad as channels like Cinema Sins is. However, I do think that MatPat needs to stop because I just discovered this channel called The Food Theorists. MatPat, please just stop. Keep doing your game theory and your film theory, but food theory is going too far. If you needed a third channel, do YouTuber drama theory. I don't know. But if you like and enjoy the content on any of MatPat's channels, then you are more than welcome to like it. I personally think that MatPat has fallen to a new low, and I really don't see him digging his way out of that. That's all I have to say, so if you want to add to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.